Hey, everybody, welcome again to another episode of the Great CEO Podcast. We have another phenomenal CEO with us today, Olaf Zwickau from Air Solutions. They do air balancing in a variety of environments, and we're going to get to know a little bit more about Olaf today. Welcome, Olaf. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Jim. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it. My company's Air Solutions and Balancing. We have two separate business units, but both of them, as Jim had already mentioned, we play with air for a living. Our first division is an energy division called Kitchen Energy Solutions. We supply energy savings products for the commercial kitchen hood industry, and where we automatically vary the speed of kitchen hood fans, therefore saving you a lot of energy. Our second division is our air balancing division called Aerodyne Solutions. It's a service industry in the construction sector where we measure and verify the amount of airflow inside a commercial building to optimize human comfort. We're generally subcontracted by the heating and cooling contractors who are performing the installation itself. In our field of air balancing, it's been a little bit more in the news lately as so much discussion around proper airflow and ventilation when it comes to the COVID virus, of course. Literally the first time the word ventilation made the front page of the Wall Street Journal. So that was kind of exciting for us.
Yeah, woo!
Right, in a very bittersweet way, of course.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, so there must be other people that can play with air. So what's your competitive advantage? Why would somebody come to Air Solutions and ask you to do this work for them?
Well, one of our core values is the word responsiveness. It's actually our very first one for a reason. While this may seem like an obvious business trait, our key difference to our competitors is that we have a designated customer-oriented project management team, full-time in the office, whose job it is to be there for the customer, be a guiding hand for our technicians, and literally respond to our customers' needs within seconds, minutes, and not from the field when they're trying to get work done.
Nice.
We
I got to
also-
tell you, if I had contractors that showed up when they said they would and did what they said they would do for the price they said they would do it, I'd give them every scrap of business I could possibly give them. So I don't think it's trivial. I think it's real as long as you back it up, right?
Well, it's funny in how you put it. Sometimes I'm almost embarrassed how simple our strategy is, because there's no secret sauce. We do exactly what you just said. We promise to be there when we'll be there, and that's a big black eye in our industry. We have the manpower to show up, to do the work, and because of our a very unique corporate structure and having an office team, we're there for our office-based our customer project managers who need and insist on immediate response, because in today's world, we're fast-paced, time is money. So we're simply meeting that need. We will be there when we say we'll be there. And lo and behold, that is not as common as you might hope it is.
No, I think anybody who's had work done in their house knows that's rare, actually.
Correct.
So what percentage of the revenue recurs every year? It feels like you're project oriented, but do you have any recurrence built into this business?
We are project oriented and we do need to bid every job. However, because we're selling to what we call proverbial middleman, the HVAC contractor, who in turn takes our service and resells it to the general contractor, or of course, we also deal with national multi-unit operators, that in return then becomes a relationship-driven business. I would
so you got
say
good repeat business from those same people, basically.
Correct. I would say we're probably 80 to 90% repeat business, though every job is in its own that we have to be competitive on.
Got it. Interesting. So if there, every business has a point of constraint, a kink in the hose that we talk about, that would, if I could change it, it would make the business materially better. What would be the kink in the hose in this business? The one thing that if I could magic wand change it would just make this a materially better business, growth rate, profit, whichever.
Without a doubt for us, it's a skilled field technician that are very difficult to get to that point, meaning our technicians have to be well versed in all areas of HVAC, not just the airflow. We have to know all the different components. We have to understand controls. We also get involved in water balancing, so we have to understand piping. Because of that, the training and learning curve is quite long, and that is the largest time constraint or constraint in faster growth.
Interesting. So you can't just hire an HVAC tech and put them to work.
We cannot. As a matter of fact, we found a significantly greater success with hiring a person who is mechanically inclined, who's eager, who's hungry to learn, and we teach him or her all the skills and then send them out with a mentor into the field. We found tremendous success with a person of that caliber rather than a seasoned HVAC technician.
Interesting. Yeah, but when you're going to grow your own, that takes time. And so it paces
Correct.
your growth basically as a
That's right.
company, right?
That's right.
So how many hours a week do you work, and how do you allocate your time within those hours?
You know, Jim, I'm very passionate about the business, and my mind is one that never stops wanting to learn new things, literally never. And it also doesn't bother me the slightest to think about all of my stuff from work throughout much of my life. So it's a very difficult question to answer. Literally, if I'm riding my bike, I may be thinking of work. So is that a pleasure activity or is it work?
Yeah.
It's when you love your work that it's not a job.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I get that answer from a lot of CEOs. They go, how many hours? I'm like, when I'm awake. That
Right.
because I'm always thinking, right?
I I don't want this to say, well, I work 18 hours a day because I sleep 6. That's not it. Of course, I have some spare time, and you'd ask for, how do we allocate my time? I'm an early riser, and my brain is ready to go literally at 5 o'clock in the morning when I usually
Wow.
get up. And I love my morning time, sipping a cup of coffee, and I'll crank out some high energy work before 8 o'clock. And that's my me time for the business.
Nice.
But for allocation, I tend to spend probably 40 to 50% of my time analyzing the current market, looking at our numbers, and more importantly, looking ahead, trying really hard to look into the future so that we can guide the ship in the right direction, if you will.
Interesting. Cool. Can you name one major responsibility that you've pushed off your plate, delegated to somebody else in the last 6 months? As you go to more and more higher value work, this is a natural process. So you got one that you could identify that you've done?
Yes, actually, 2 all into one.
Nice.
We're very fortunate, and within the last year, I hired both a COO and a CFO.
Wow.
It was a very big move for the company, but it was the right move to let me spend more time looking into the future, looking into working on creating more business, helping the company grow, which has always been part of our plan. So delegating those tasks on both the financial side and the operations side, where the day-to-day activity is not part of what I'm responsible for, has been a huge burden lifted off my shoulders.
Awesome. And you used to do both of those jobs or part of both of those jobs?
Well, we've always had our accounting team with us, but on the operations side, I'm certainly much more involved than I am today.
Awesome. That's
Mm-hmm.
great. Can you, Nate, give me one or two things that you've learned that are sort of central to how you approach the job as a CEO?
Well, growing this business from scratch with me doing everything when I first started, I have really had to learn to let go over the years as we've grown from 0 employees to now the largest air balancing company in the country.
Wow.
And the pressure that I put on myself to let go, because other people that we've hired for certain tasks, without a shadow of a doubt, are significantly better at those tasks than I ever was and I ever could be, has been fun, but also one of the most difficult things for me,
Yeah.
because I have done those jobs, and I say, well, how about this way? And I've just learned by myself to let it go and let the experts do what they're best at doing.
That's great. Yeah, we have a rule. We call it the 70% rule. If they're 70% as good as you, delegate it and let it go. But
Right.
it's really hard. And if you're
Right.
not careful, you can become the point of constraint in the business because you just won't let go. And I've seen
Correct.
that. So good for you. Well done.
Thanks.
And last question. What do you do for fun?
Well, my wife and I really enjoy entertaining and meeting with friends. She enjoys cooking, so we do a lot of in-home entertaining. Obviously, with the current situation, we do that anyhow. I'm an avid mountain biker, so that's my
Nice.
exercise and my outlet. I'm fortunate where I can do that from my house and ride into the woods and get a little bit of fresh air, if you will. We in non-COVID times really, really enjoy travel. In my perfect world, I would visit every city in the world. So that's always on my to-do or my wish list, is to travel more, as I've thoroughly enjoyed learning by traveling.
Awesome. That's great. Well, every city in the world, you know, TikTok, you better get
Yeah.
going. There's a lot of them.
I have a long way to go.
Awesome. Well, Olaf, this was a great pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time with us. We really deeply appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Great pleasure.
All
Thank
righty.
you.
Cheers.